How you doing?
So she wanted you to come.
Let bygones be bygones.
Well, what?
If I didn't want to be here.
Where are you, though?
Yeah, what the fuck do you think I'm doing here? I asked you a question. Leave it. Leave it. I want you to understand something. If you ever come near me or my family again, okay, is your own fault. It's got nothing to do with me.
The movie begins with a married couple, Simon and Robyn, looking at a large house in California that they're thinking about buying. An estate agent gives them a tour of the property. During the conversation, we find out that Simon recently got a new job, which is the reason they're moving all the way from Chicago. Sometime later, the couple is shopping at a department store, picking out furniture and other things they need for their new home. While they're looking around, a man suddenly walks up to Simon and introduces himself. He says they went to school together. His name is Gordon, but Simon remembers him by his old nickname, Gordo. Before they can really catch up, the store clerk interrupts and asks Simon for the delivery address for their furniture. Simon quickly gives the address without thinking much about it. Robyn politely asks Gordo for his phone number and tells him they'll get in touch soon so they can properly catch up another day. Gordo agrees, and they go their separate ways. The next morning, Simon heads off to work while Robyn stays home. As she's taking a shower, the doorbell suddenly rings. She goes to answer it, but when she opens the door, nobody is there. Instead, she finds a wrapped bottle of wine sitting outside with a small note. The following day, Robyn visits her next-door neighbor Lucy to introduce herself. Lucy welcomes her warmly and lets Robyn hold her young daughter. During their conversation, Lucy casually asks if Robyn and Simon are planning to have children of their own. Robyn admits that she was pregnant the year before but sadly lost the baby. Later that day, Robyn is back at home, working on her laptop while making dinner in the kitchen. Out of nowhere, Gordo shows up at the front door without calling first. Although she's a little surprised to see him, she thanks him for the bottle of wine and mentions that Simon should have contacted him by now. Gordo doesn't seem bothered by it. Instead, he hands Robyn a list of useful local contacts, including plumbers, cleaners, and other services that might come in handy now that they've moved into the neighborhood. He also gives her a bottle of glass cleaner as another small housewarming gift. As they continue talking, Gordo mentions how much he likes the design of the house and says it's one of his favorite styles of architecture. Since he's already there, Robyn invites him inside and gives him a quick tour of the place. While walking through one of the rooms, Gordo notices a child's toy lying around and asks if they have a kid. Robyn smiles and tells him they don't have any children. For now, she says, the only member of the family is their dog, Mr. Bojangles. Robyn also tells Gordo that she plans to fill the empty pond outside the house with fish one day. She invites him to stay for dinner, and he happily accepts. That evening, the three of them sit down to eat and share a few glasses of wine. During the conversation, Gordo asks Simon if he still keeps in touch with any of their old classmates, especially a guy named Greg Pearson. Simon says he hasn't spoken to anyone from high school since graduation. Gordo then brings up an old memory from school. He reminds Simon that he was class president and even had a campaign slogan called Simon Says. According to Gordo, whatever Simon wanted usually happened, and everyone seemed to follow him. Simon eventually asks Gordo what he's been doing since high school. Gordo says he joined the military after graduating, but later left. He doesn't go into much detail, only saying that a lot of both good and bad things happened to him after that. After Gordo leaves for the night, Simon helps Robyn clean up the kitchen. He admits that having Gordo over made him feel uncomfortable. Simon says Gordo is acting like they used to be close friends, but he barely remembers him from school. In fact, he thinks Gordo is a little strange. Robyn tells him not to worry since it was only one dinner, and they don't have to invite him over again.
It's over. No one's saying you have to do it again.
The next evening, Simon and Robyn attend a work event related to Simon's new job. While talking with other people, it's revealed that the couple is still trying to have a baby and hopes to start a family soon. When they return home later that night, they find another surprise waiting for them. Gordo has left another gift outside the house along with a thank you note for inviting him to dinner. This time, the gift is a container of fish food. Then they realize Gordo has already placed several koi fish into their empty pond as another gift. Robyn appreciates the thoughtful gesture and wants to thank him, but Simon feels completely differently. He says this kind of behavior isn't normal and points out that Gordo keeps coming onto their property without asking. Simon also mentions that people in high school used to call him Gordo the Weirdo, suggesting he always had a reputation for acting differently. Robyn thinks Simon is being a little too harsh. She believes Gordo is simply misunderstood and is only trying to be friendly. Seeing how much Robyn is defending him, Simon jokes that she's already made herself a new friend. The following morning, Robyn goes out for a run. After getting back home, she sits down to start working on her laptop. Just then, Mr. Bojangles starts barking. Robyn looks outside and sees Gordo standing at the front door. They chat for a few minutes, and then, as usual, Robyn kindly invites him inside for a cup of tea.
I was just about to make a pot of tea.
Inside the house, Gordo helps Robyn set up the TV. She thanks him and jokes that Simon is going to love him for fixing it. While he's there, Gordo also starts cleaning up around the house without anyone asking. As he's picking up some trash in the kitchen, he notices a note on the fridge. Simon had written the word weirdo next to Gordo's phone number. Gordo quietly looks at it, but doesn't say anything. Later that evening, Simon and Robyn invite a few of Simon's coworkers over to their new house for a small gathering. During the conversation, Simon tells everyone about Gordo and how he keeps showing up with gifts. His coworkers laugh about it, and they all joke that Gordo seems like a strange guy. Even though Gordo had just seen what Simon wrote about him, he still invites Simon and Robyn over for dinner at his place. He also says another couple will be joining them, making it sound like a normal dinner party. When Simon tells his coworkers about the invitation, they joke that Gordo might end up chopping them into pieces if they actually go.
Unless he wants to chop you guys up with an axe.
A while later, Simon and Robyn drive to Gordo's house and stop in front of a large electronic gate. As the gate opens and they drive in, they're surprised to see a huge, beautiful house. Neither of them expected Gordo to be living somewhere so expensive. Gordo welcomes them at the front door with a smile. They hand him a bottle of wine they brought for dinner, and he invites them inside. Once they're settled in, Simon asks when the other couple will arrive. Gordo casually says they canceled at the last minute, so it'll just be the three of them instead. Simon then gets curious about Gordo's personal life and asks if he's married. Gordo pauses for a moment before saying it's a long story, but the short answer is no. He doesn't explain any further. A few minutes later, Gordo gets a phone call that seems urgent. He apologizes and says he'll only be gone for about 5 minutes before stepping outside. While Gordo is away, Simon tells Robyn that he thinks Gordo has become obsessed with her. He believes that's the real reason Gordo keeps bringing gifts and finding excuses to visit them. Robyn isn't convinced, but she listens to what Simon has to say. Since they're alone in the house, the couple starts looking around out of curiosity. Before long, they notice Gordo pulling back into the driveway. They quickly head downstairs and pretend they were just waiting for him. Back in the living room, Simon casually asks Gordo what he does for work to afford such a large house. Gordo admits that the phone call wasn't actually a work emergency. It was his ex-wife calling him. He explains that she left him and took their 2 children with her. He also reveals that the house doesn't really belong to him. It's actually his ex-wife's family home, and because of the situation, she's the one making all the decisions. After hearing Gordo's story, Robyn feels sorry for him. Simon, however, doesn't seem to care much. He asks Robyn to wait in the car so he can speak to Gordo alone. Once they're outside, Simon tells Gordo that he needs to stop showing up at their house and bringing gifts. He says Gordo should focus on sorting out his own life instead of visiting them. Gordo listens quietly, without arguing. Simon gets back into the car, and the couple starts driving away. When they reach the large electronic gate at the end of the driveway, it doesn't open. Simon gets out of the car and begins walking back toward the house. Just then, Gordo casually pulls the gate remote out of his pocket and opens it. Simon and Robyn leave without saying anything else. Back at home, they go to bed, hoping the awkward situation is finally over. The next morning, after finishing her usual run, Robyn walks outside and finds that all of the koi fish Gordo gave them are dead. As if that wasn't bad enough, their dog, Mr. Bojangles, is nowhere to be found. Simon immediately drives to the house where they had dinner with Gordo, hoping to confront him. But when he gets there, a completely different couple answers the door. They tell Simon they have no idea who Gordon is and have never heard of him. With no other choice, Simon contacts the police. One of the officers explains that Gordo used to work as a driver for the owner of that house. Because of that job, he had access to the garage and was able to get inside, even though he didn't actually live there. Simon tells the police that he just wants to find his missing dog. The officers say they can track down Gordo's current address, but without solid evidence, they can't get a search warrant or enter his home.
Because I can go there and see him, but that's not the problem.
The following morning, Simon leaves for work, and Robyn is home by herself. While walking around the house, she suddenly hears running water. She discovers that one of the taps has been turned on, even though she doesn't remember using it. The strange incident makes her feel uneasy. Feeling stressed, Robyn goes next door and tells her neighbor Lucy that she's been having trouble sleeping because of everything that's been happening. While using Lucy's bathroom, Robyn notices a bottle of sleeping pills inside the medicine cabinet. Without saying anything, she quietly takes a few of them before leaving. That night, Simon falls asleep almost immediately, but Robyn is still wide awake. Since she can't sleep, She goes into another room and takes some of the sleeping pills she secretly brought home. As she heads back toward the bedroom, she notices a light on in the hallway. Thinking someone might be inside the house, she slowly walks over to check. Suddenly, something appears at the window and startles her. To her surprise, it's Mr. Bojangles. Seeing the dog back, Simon becomes convinced that Gordo was behind the disappearance all along. The next morning, Robyn goes outside to collect the mail. Among the letters, she finds one from Gordo. Curious, she opens it and starts reading. In the letter, Gordo apologizes for lying about where he lived. He explains that he was embarrassed to show them his real home and didn't want them to judge him. Before ending the letter, Gordo writes that he forgives Simon and wants to let bygones be bygones. After reading it, Robyn asks Simon what Gordo meant by "let bygones be bygones." Simon quickly brushes it off, saying Gordo is just an unstable guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't seem interested in discussing it any further. The following day, Robyn is taking a shower when she suddenly notices someone walking into the bathroom. She freezes in fear. A second later, she suddenly wakes up. It turns out the whole thing was just a nightmare, but it leaves her feeling shaken. Around the same time, Simon is at work meeting with his bosses. They tell him that he's being considered for a promotion. The only person standing in his way is one of his coworkers, Danny McDonald. Back at home, Robyn is preparing food in the kitchen. While cutting vegetables, she suddenly hears the sound of a door closing somewhere in the house. The unexpected noise startles her, causing her to spill her drink. She slowly walks around the house to see where the sound came from. Before she can figure it out, she suddenly has a panic attack. Feeling overwhelmed, she collapses onto the floor. The next morning, Robyn wakes up in her bed. She walks into the kitchen and finds Simon already sitting there. He tells her that when he came home the night before, he found her unconscious and carried her to bed. Robyn admits that she's scared and says she thinks they should simply call Gordo and apologize if they've hurt his feelings. She hopes that making peace with him will finally put an end to everything that's been happening. Simon completely disagrees. He says she's only feeling this way because she secretly took sleeping pills without telling him. In his opinion, the medication is making her anxious and paranoid. Robyn asks him once again what Gordo meant by saying he wanted to let bygones be bygones. This time Simon becomes noticeably uncomfortable. Instead of giving a clear answer, he tells her to stop worrying about Gordo and move on with her life.
Say sorry to him.
As more time passes, things finally seem to settle down. Gordo no longer contacts them, and the strange incidents stop happening. Simon and Robyn slowly return to their normal routine and begin enjoying life again. Then one day, Robyn surprises Simon with some happy news. She hands him a small gift, and inside is a positive pregnancy test. Some time passes, and Robyn is now heavily pregnant. One day, she's shopping with her neighbor Lucy when she notices someone standing outside the store. Robyn immediately walks outside to speak to him, but before she can say anything, Gordo turns around and quickly walks away. A little later, Robyn has a baby shower at her house. Family and friends gather to celebrate the upcoming arrival of her baby, and everyone brings gifts for the parents-to-be. During the party, Robyn gets a chance to talk with Simon's sister. Curious, she asks if she remembers Gordo from high school. Simon's sister says she does and tells Robyn that Gordo had a very difficult time growing up. She explains that there were rumors at school that Gordo had been sexually abused by an older student. After that, he became the target of constant bullying and eventually had to transfer to another school. She also tells Robyn that Simon and his friend Greg Pearson were involved in reporting the incident. Once the story spread around school, many students started calling Gordo gay and made his life miserable. Simon's sister suggests that Robyn ask Simon about what really happened.
I think they essentially saved him, you know?
The next morning, after Simon leaves for work, Robyn starts looking through his office files at home. Inside one of the cabinets, she finds background checks that Simon had secretly run on both his coworker Danny McDonald and Gordo. The report on Gordo reveals that he has been in trouble with the law several times over the years. It lists charges including breaking and entering, as well as the abduction of a minor. Seeing all of this leaves Robyn even more confused about who Gordo really is. Wanting answers, she searches online for Greg Pearson and manages to find where he works. She goes there and speaks with him directly. During their conversation, Greg tells her the truth about what happened back in high school. According to him, the story about Gordo being abused wasn't true at all. It was actually a rumor started by Simon as part of a cruel prank. The false story spread through the school, and Gordo became the target of endless bullying. Greg explains that Simon could have admitted the truth later and stopped the damage, but he never did. Instead, he stayed quiet and let everyone keep believing the lie. The consequences were much worse than Robyn expected. Because of the rumor, Gordo's father believed his son was gay. Greg says his father became so angry that he even tried to burn Gordo alive. He was later arrested for attempted murder, while Gordo was sent away to military school.
The whole story Not one part of it was true.
Around the same time, Simon is talking with one of his coworkers about the promotion he's hoping to get. During the conversation, he learns that Danny McDonald, the other candidate for the job, is now being investigated, which could improve Simon's chances. Later, Robyn confronts Simon about everything Greg told her. Simon immediately denies being responsible. He acts like it was just a small incident from their school days and says people are making it sound much worse than it really was. When Robyn asks why he never apologized, Simon refuses. He says he's not going to apologize for something that happened 20 years ago and insists that Gordo should just move on with his life instead of holding on to the past. Simon tries to defend himself by bringing up the fact that Robyn was bullied when she was younger. Instead of calming things down, it only makes Robyn even angrier. She slaps him across the face and tells him that he was a bully back in school and still acts like one today. Before leaving the conversation, Robyn tells Simon that he needs to apologize to Gordo. She says he should do it not only for Gordo's sake, but also for hers if he truly cares about their family. A little later, Simon tracks Gordo down at a local bar where he works as the host of a quiz night. Simon waits until the event is over before approaching him in the parking lot. Simon tells Gordo that he's sorry for everything that happened years ago. At first, it sounds like a genuine apology, but Gordo quickly realizes that Simon isn't being honest. Simon admits that Robyn was the one who wanted him to apologize, making it clear he isn't really sorry. Gordo refuses to accept the apology. He calmly tells Simon that it's too late to fix the past and walks away. Instead of letting it go, Simon loses his temper. He grabs Gordo, knocks him to the ground, and starts insulting him, calling him a loser. He also warns Gordo to stay away from his family, threatening to make his life miserable if he ever comes near them again. When Simon gets home, he lies to Robyn about what happened. He tells her that Gordo accepted the apology and seemed grateful for it. He hugs her and says everything is finally behind them, making Robyn believe the situation has been resolved. A few days later, Simon invites several coworkers over to the house to celebrate getting his promotion. The guests look toward the window just as a large rock comes flying through the glass, smashing it into pieces. Simon immediately rushes outside to see who did it. A man suddenly runs out from the darkness and knocks Simon to the ground. After a brief struggle, Simon manages to overpower him and hold him down until everyone else comes outside. To everyone's surprise, the man isn't Gordo. It's Danny McDonald, the coworker who lost the promotion to Simon. Danny angrily accuses Simon of stealing the promotion from him. He says Simon sent a misleading email to their bosses, claiming that people at Danny's previous company thought he wasn't good at his job. According to Danny, those claims were completely false and ruined his chances of getting promoted. Before anyone can process what's happening, Robyn suddenly goes into labor. Her water breaks, and everyone quickly forgets about the argument. Simon rushes her to the hospital. Not long afterward, Robyn gives birth to a healthy baby boy. While they're still at the hospital, Simon receives a phone call from one of his coworkers. The coworker tells him that their boss has discovered the truth about Danny's accusations. It turns out Simon really did make up evidence to damage Danny's reputation and improve his own chances of getting promoted. As a result, Simon is told to clear out his office because he's no longer welcome at the company. After the baby is born, Simon tells Robyn that he's going back to the house to check if the broken window has been repaired and to look after Mr. Bojangles. Before he leaves, Robyn tells him something he isn't expecting. After everything that has happened, she says she doesn't want to go back home with him. It's clear that she no longer trusts him, and it seems like she wants to end their relationship.
I don't want to go back to that house with you.
Already dealing with losing his job and everything else that's happened, Simon returns to the house feeling completely overwhelmed. When he gets there, he notices a large gift box sitting on the front porch. Attached to it is a small note that simply says, "A gift." Simon immediately realizes it has to be from Gordo. At the same time, back at the hospital, Gordo quietly walks into Robyn's room. He's wearing a sling on one arm from the fight with Simon earlier. Robyn is asleep and has no idea he's there. Back at the house, Simon opens the package. Inside, he finds a baby carrier. Sitting inside it are 3 smaller wrapped gifts, each labeled with a number, 1, 2, and 3. Simon opens the first gift and finds a key. After looking at it for a moment, he realizes it's actually a key to his own house, showing that Gordo had been able to get inside whenever he wanted. Next, Simon opens the second gift. It's a CD. He puts it into a player and listens to the recording. The audio is from the night Simon and Robyn visited Gordo for dinner. Simon hears himself making fun of Gordo while Gordo was outside taking the fake phone call. On the recording, Simon calls him a weirdo and says he's obsessed with Robyn. It's clear that Gordo secretly recorded the conversation. Meanwhile, Robyn wakes up in her hospital room and is shocked to find Gordo standing beside her bed. He calmly congratulates her on the baby and politely asks whether she had a boy or a girl. Back at the house, Simon opens the third and final gift. Inside is a DVD with the words "Watch Me" written on it. Simon plays the video and quickly realizes that Gordo had secretly recorded Robyn inside their house several times. The footage includes the day Robyn collapsed in the kitchen. Simon finally learns that Gordo had secretly put something into her sports drink, causing her to pass out. The video then shows Gordo standing over Robyn after she loses consciousness. Wearing a monkey mask, he carries her to the bedroom. He touches her while looking into the camera and even waves at it, as if he's mocking Simon. The recording suddenly cuts off before showing what happened next, leaving Simon horrified and unsure of how far Gordo actually went. Back at the hospital, Gordo is still speaking to Robyn. He tells her that Simon was responsible for his injuries. After seeing the video, Simon immediately rushes to the hospital. As he drives, he keeps trying to call Robyn, but she doesn't answer, making him panic even more. When he arrives, he runs straight to her room, only to find that she's no longer there. Not knowing where she went, he starts searching the hospital. While looking around, Simon spots Gordo stepping into an elevator. He tries to reach him, but the doors close before he gets there. With no other choice, Simon takes the stairs and continues searching every floor, hoping to catch him. Just as Simon heads outside, his phone suddenly rings. It's Gordo. Instead of giving Simon any clear answers, Gordo starts mocking him. He refuses to say whether he actually assaulted Robyn while she was unconscious, or whether the baby is really Simon's. He tells Simon that now he knows what it feels like to live with uncertainty, just like Gordo had to after Simon spread the false story about him years ago. Before hanging up, Gordo gives Simon one final comment. He tells him to look into the baby's eyes because the eyes never lie.
Or maybe I did.
Completely shaken, Simon runs back into the hospital as fast as he can. He finally finds Robyn holding their newborn son. Simon immediately stares at the baby's eyes, desperately trying to figure out if Gordo was telling the truth or simply trying to get inside his head. There's no clear answer, and Simon is left standing there, unable to stop thinking about what Gordo said. With his marriage falling apart, his career already ruined, and now this doubt hanging over him, Simon completely breaks down. He drops to the floor in tears as the weight of everything finally catches up to him. From a distance, Gordo watches him for a moment. Believing his revenge is complete, he quietly walks away. As he leaves, he removes the sling from his arm and throws it aside, revealing that he never really needed it. The movie ends without revealing whether Gordo actually assaulted Robyn or if he only wanted Simon to spend the rest of his life wondering. That final question is left unanswered.